tonight on this cold night and wet night, but everybody who signed up showed up, except one person, and she might be here in a little bit. So anyway, so thanks for coming. And we talk about most of our seminars all about financial well-being, and Max and I spend so much time talking about finances. More importantly is your health. And so, of course, I bring in my favorite speaker of all times, Dr. Philip Heisterkamp. And I got home for lunch today. We had a morning session, and I looked at Chris when I walked in. I said, how much credit do we get for this? I don't know. So it's just amazing how young men turn out in spite of their parents sometimes. So, but anyway, God is good. Anyway, so my favorite speaker, Dr. Philip, and I tell you, there's a lot going on, and I'm just going to say, get what you can. In the end, you're going to have a few key takeaways that it's going to help you be a healthier person. So, because you know what? You could have as much money as you can have in the world. You could be a multi-bazillionaire, and if your health stinks, what good does it do you, right? So take it away, Dr. Philip.
You betcha. Thank you. Appreciate you all. And try to give you all my gold nuggets, all my good tips and tricks for healthy living, right? Because it is an art form. Life is chaotic, is it not? And he almost took one of my analogies. We'll revisit this analogy later, but like if you could have any car right now, think of the one that you would choose. Cost doesn't matter. Pick the one. Chad, are you like a Maserati, or what are you gonna pick? So and you can have any car, and it's the last one you'll get for the rest of your life. You can drive it till you die. But as long as when it is out of commission, that's it. You don't get another car. So it's now you can have anything. Lamborghini, it's yours. Bingo. Okay. Now, if it's the last one you were ever going to own, how well would you take care of that truck? Probably pretty well, knowing like you're not going to get another one, right? 3,000 miles, oil change, right? You're going to be waxing that bad boy at night in the driveway. You're going to take pretty good care of this truck. Well, it turns out you only get one body, right? And it's the only one you get. And when it wears out, you don't get another one. So we'd better figure out how to take care of our bodies. There's analogy number one. Hence the art of living. Life is chaotic. And I'm going to just hit you with all the bad news first. Okay. We're just going to get all the junky stuff out of the way. Okay. Because the first thing you need to know is how Philip needs to get a clicker working. And it was working, and the batteries are on because we got a laser, but it's just click. That's the secret. Okay. So I'm a chiropractor by trade. A lot of you know that's what my bread and butter is. Bread and butter. Let's get those out of the way too. That's what my bread and butter is. But now we're starting this functional medicine program and these new modalities. And hyperbaric oxygen, it's about air. The sauna, it's about heat. The red light therapy, it's about light exposure. Those are some of the things I like the most because they're just natural, right? If I had another one, I really like cold plunge. And then, of course, like nutrition and supplements and just keeping your body nutritionally healthy, that's what I also really like that, right? And that's something you can do on your own. We're going to learn a lot about food and exercise. That's your job. What can I do for you? I can help introduce some of these elements, the raw elements, to make you even healthier. Cold plunge. Yep. So yes, indeed, for sure. And the cold and the heat, they both have a way of stimulating out with the bad, in with the good. Old cells die because they can't handle the stress, and new cells rise to the surface. So it's like a healthy stressor. It is a stressor, and stress is bad to some degree, but to some degree it is also very good because it's survival of the fittest in a way in your cells inside of you, right? So I suppose that was the good news. This is the bad news. The bad news is that none of us are getting out of this life alive. We all are going to, and we should. When you're born, you finally got permission to die. That's good. That's the other side of things, okay? The fact of the matter is we, in a way, we get to choose how we want to die. These are straight from the CDC, the government website, okay? And really what I have highlighted here is the high points. 10 things in America, this is America, not worldwide, 10 things kill 71% of people. 70.9% of people die from these 10 things, okay? 5 of them take half of people, 53.9. There's the 4 horsemen. cancer, heart disease, brain disorders like Alzheimer's or dementia, and metabolic conditions like diabetes or music. Yeah, I liked it though. It was good. It was a good vibe. Indeed, thank you. And this is the end of the story. This is the end of story. Diseases of the heart, cancer, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, these things are affecting more than half of people in America. And we don't want that. And why is because they're chronic diseases that take a long time. They're hard to manage. They're theoretically incurable. It's easier to prevent them than it is to treat them. We want to keep them from ever happening versus having to deal with them when they're here, right? That's what I'm about. That's the art of living, staving off chronic, pesky diseases. These things are widely considered chronic, preventable. Does anybody know what we're looking at here? This is New York City in 1883. Anybody know what these big clumps of stuff is? Manure. Sewage, indeed. Because what was the chief mode of transportation in New York in 1893? Horse and buggy. Do you know what horses produce? A whole lot of manure, right? Just like the Bell Tower Festival. There's always that pooper scooper in the parade. And so this was the scenario in New York for years. The idea behind this is that people used to die from infectious disease. You'd get an infection, you'd get sick, you couldn't battle it, you'd die, right? Now modern medicine is pretty good at that. There's antibiotics do save lives. Back then, that was the issue. Now we die slowly. We die from toxicity. We die from chronic diseases. Back then, it was infection. It's different. That was called a fast death. Now we have slow death. Slow deaths are, none of it's fun. I'll tell you that. None of it's fun. But my wish for all of you is to stave off slow death because that's a decade worth of grinding it out. One of my favorite influencers, favorite doctors, a medical doctor, still practicing. He has his private practice. His name is Peter Attia. He's out on the East Coast. And he takes these stats and he amplifies it. What he found and what this is saying here is that 80% of people over 50 die from the four horsemen. 80% over 50. So before with the CDC, we found 53% of everybody die from these things. Something happens when you're over 50. When you're over 50, your odds of what you're going to die from become more tipped towards the chronic disease scale. Ironically, when you're over 50, it's chronic disease. When you're under 50 or 45 specifically, the number one cause of death is accidents, just getting in an accident. The number one accident is an overdose. And the number one reason for an overdose is opioids, is pain pills. And hopefully that's changing. I mean, that's just the point of throwing that in there is because people, you never really know what someone's going through. You never really know how much pain they're in. And to numb it out is one way to do it, but it just doesn't work in the long run. So it's getting to root cause is the better way of addressing pain and symptoms. America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? Our life expectancy is worse than comparable countries. I asked my dad this earlier, we're 49th in life expectancy. That means there's 48 other countries who, when you live there for your life, you are expected to live longer than us here in the United States. Can you name 48 other countries greater than the United States of America? I cannot. I can't. I think America we're doing something right, but it's not necessarily our regular model of healthcare. Okay. This graph, this is life expectancy of comparable countries, and this is United States. We are 4 years lower than the average of comparable countries. Graph on the right is all about spending. We spend 4,000 more per person per capita, but we live not as long. I mean, the math doesn't add up there. Okay, that just means our systems are a little off. We need new systems. We need new theories. We need a new culture. 50 is like a magic number. Now here is, again, a CDC stat. Life expectancy at birth versus life expectancy at age 65. Who is, by chance, how old are you, may I ask? Yeah, how many years young are you right now? 80. Is anybody older than 80 in here? That's right. How old are you? Love it. Indeed. So you're defining the odds, okay? Now these are averages, right? It's not like I'm saying at 83 you're going to keel over. That's not what's going to happen. You're going to keep going, okay? But it's at age 65 your life expectancy changes. your life expectancy at 65 becomes 83. And if you're a female, it becomes 85. At birth, it's 75 for a guy and it's 81 for a female. Okay. To me, this means something is happening between age 50 and 65 that is hurting a lot of people. If you make it here, your life expectancy is later. If you don't make it there, that's the population where it's like, let's analyze you in a new way. Let's prevent things from happening and go from there. This concept I'm particularly passionate about, and this is what we're talking about. It's the difference between health span and lifespan. Lifespan is how long do you live, how many years you have. Health span is how many good years you had, how many years you had before your health really started to decline. Normally, right now, what's happening, average 80 years, but the last 10 is junk. Not as good as it could have been. It wasn't as good as your first 60. And it's really hard to get that back once it's gone. And that's kind of this threshold. We're living along, boom. Health span gone, last 10 years, tough to manage. What Dr. Peter Attia is saying, and what I'm a proponent for, is let's live in a way where our health span matches lifespan. So that maybe there's 3 months of junk and not 10 years. That sounds nicer, right? So this is where we're shifting from what the problem is to why the problem is there. We've discussed what's going on. Okay, the stats, the trends. Now why? Why? I'm pointing fingers at metabolism. Okay, what is metabolism? Did you all have a snack? You had a parfait, right? Metabolism, you didn't. There's still some in the back if you want some back. Metabolism is the act of taking in nutrients, breaking it all the way down to the raw components, and building up what your body needs to heal itself. Your body was made to heal itself. That's the one thing I really, really, really want you to hear out of that statement. You got to take in nutrients, you got to break it down, and you got to rebuild it into what you want. It's like cutting down trees to make lumber to go build your house. It's like you could, I suppose people do it, log cabins, right? You could take a tree and not do anything to it, and you could, but it's easier to make 2x4s, right? And to use those. That's what metabolism is, okay? Now, a healthy metabolism burns both carbs and fat, two chief forms of fuel, right? A lot of problems happen towards those chronic diseases when we lose the ability to burn fat. We need to maintain the ability to burn fat, okay? This is just because I'm a nerd. And this is our chief energy source. And we should have a human biology course where we learn what we're made of, right? Like the reason you're breathing and you have energy right now is because you're constantly, 100% of the time, there's not a millisecond of life where you're not making ATP. ATP is this molecule over here called adenosine triphosphate. There will be no quiz on that. It's just, this is the currency of life. We burn carbs and we burn fat to make ATP. It's the fact of the matter is the carb and the fat isn't even that important. It's about making ATP. Ironically, what ATP is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus. Are there any farmers in the audience right now? What do you need to make crops grow big and tall? Nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus. Like we are an organic living thing. It's kind of cool. I'm blaming metabolism getting hijacked. I'm blaming not being able to burn carbs and fat at the same time, or when there's a demand on your body. That's called metabolic syndrome, or to use this slide, calls it metabolic flexibility. Burn fat when you need to, burn carbs when you need to, right? Nowadays, we eat in a way where we never have to burn fat. We're just eating all the time. It's the holiday season. Anybody little holiday fudge to work off left? I mean, that's like a thing. We talk to each other. Yeah, got to work off a little holiday fudge yet, because we ate from Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's, and it's just carb overload. And it's Christmas cookies, and it's those pretzels dipped in almond bark. Man, those are good, right? And they come out with the seasonal stuff, and it's just, okay, I'm not saying you can't indulge in a little bit, but yet if all we do is eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, that's energy coming in, and your body never has a reason to burn fat. You never tap into that sort of stuff if you're eating constantly, right? So what I recommend is a 12-hour fast every day, no matter what. That will never go out of style. You have a 12-hour eating window and a 12-hour of no eating window. 12 hours of calories, 12 hours of complete and total rest. That's one tip that I have, right? When you lose metabolic flexibility and you only can burn carbs because that's all you're eating, this becomes metabolic syndrome. The medical world measures this by cholesterol that's out of whack, triglycerides that are out of whack, blood glucose that's out of whack, which is on the road to becoming diabetic, blood pressure, and then what you call abdominal obesity, which is holding weight right here. It's the traditional beer belly that men often have, right? Those are the criteria for metabolic syndrome, which is what I'm saying, the middleman of what's next, which is cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and brain stuff. Here's some spark notes, okay? This is what you need to know about carbs, blood sugar. When you eat food, where's the first place that your body moves sugar out of the blood to? Where does it go, right? We monitor blood sugar. That's the marker of diabetes. So if it's not supposed to be in your blood, where's it supposed to be? The first place it goes is in your muscles. You store sugar in your muscles for energy. Why? If a tiger walked through that door, we'd all better be ready to go, right? If you've got to ramp it up for 5 minutes, you got to sit over here on the sideline to get your energy where it needs to go, that would be a problem. You would be food for somebody else, right? That doesn't work. Blood sugar is stored in muscles. There's 1,200 to 2,000 calories of energy stored in muscles and the liver, okay? So why intermittent fasting is effective, because you'll use that first, always. You'll always use that first. Then there's a decision time. After that liver and muscle energy is gone, your body says, let's get more carbs. And that's usually what a craving is a demand for cheap, fast energy. Because your body is in survival mode most times. It's aware of what it needs to do to survive, okay? So it'll say, let's get some energy in here. How about those carbs? And if you can delay that enough and kind of get through the craving, which inevitably is there until you're trained, right? You will start dipping into body fat. And that's the idea of intermittent fasting. It takes about 12 hours to get through those initial 2,000 calories of energy. After that, it's body fat. That's the decision point. You can either eat more carbs, and your brain will always scream for that, because your brain does not like to be foggy. Your brain likes to be snappy. It needs energy constantly. Carbs are twigs on the fire. They burn quick, but they don't last long. Fat are logs on the fire. It takes longer to burn, but it gives more energy. Ironically, in your entire body, 2,000 calories of energy stored in muscles in the liver, in 1 pound of fat, just 1 pound. I have more than 1 pound of fat on me. 3,500 calories, 3,500. There's exponentially more energy in fat than carbs. If you can tap into that fat for energy, you are made in the shade. You will never have metabolic syndrome. You will never have metabolic inflexibility, and you have a much greater chance of never having any of those chronic diseases that harm people for so long. These are the things: heart, cancer, brain, metabolism. Okay, those metabolic syndrome, the middleman. This is what I'm looking out for. This is what I want to reverse before we ever get here. What causes metabolic syndrome? Not moving, not putting a demand on your body to burn energy. Overfed and undernourished. This was a documentary about this. This was like a 13-year-old kid who basically was type 2 diabetic and had a decision to either change and try to reverse that, or to be type 2 diabetic throughout the rest of his life and succumb to whatever it was in his family. And he was basically destined to die young at 12. And this is like a common story in America, super common. Young kids being diabetic, and their outlook is not good. Being on meds for that long, not supposed to be that way. How many of you feel the effect of stress, especially around holidays? There's just a little extra. You're traveling. We traveled in snow. It was stressful. My body holding the steering wheel you feel it. It has an effect. It's inflammatory. Stress with no end is not healthy. And the last one is toxicity, which deserves, all of these things deserve a seminar of their own. Toxins is a hard one to wrap your head around. Like, for example, water is great. The solution to pollution is dilution, right? If you can, like drinking water out of bottled water, you should never do it again. Glass is king. Why? Because there's a thing called BPA in plastic. It makes plastic shatterproof. BPA. But also is labeled as a toxin. It is an endocrine disruptor. It blocks testosterone and estrogen from doing their job. This is like a problem for young women who don't have regular cycles, right? It's a problem for men who are 40 and have been drinking plastic water for 15 years and now they have low testosterone. Sometimes it's toxicity. It's because the wrong chemicals are in you. So it's when that doesn't get handled, then you can see how it starts to build up and lead to crazier things that we don't want to deal with. How do you reverse that? Yes. So in 2026, my new initiative is I want everybody to detox and to fast. Go back and forth. For 3 months, we'll focus on detox. For 3 months, we'll focus on fasting. And then we'll flip. That's every quarter. You're just doing something to help protect your body. And so that's a good question, how to detox. And it really is a big topic. You can't starve your way into detoxing. Your liver needs energy to do that's where it's all happening. 75% of detox is in the liver, 25% is in the gut. Toxicity detoxing is an energy dependent and nutrient dependent process. There are key nutrients that are necessary for toxicity, for detoxing. So it's making sure you, what I would call, eat the rainbow, which is eating every color of the rainbow every day. Apples are red, bananas are yellow, broccoli is green. Eat the rainbow every day. Each color has different phytonutrients, small nutrients that are unique to their color. They all have unique detox effects. So like oranges or carrots, orange. What are carrots famous for? What nutrient? Vitamin A, right? Necessary for detox. And there's 1,000 of those. I mean, there's not 1,000, but there's 50 nutrients that are important for the detox process. Which brings us back to food and what we eat. And when we eat food that arrived through the window of your car, I can't say that that's food anymore. You know, like most drive-through establishments, it's not really what you want to eat. And there's as many things to detox from that meal like McDonald's. I just can't do it anymore. McDonald's, I don't know. I can't go to McDonald's anymore. Can you go to McDonald's anymore? No, I can't. I just know it's not good for me. There's as many things to detox from that meal as there is to nourish my body. It doesn't work. The writing's on the wall for me in the stats and what the CDC is putting out. If we continue to do the same things we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. That's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's time for a healthcare shift in our country. So the question is, what do you do about it? Okay. And so this is like the number 2. I want you to know what's happening in America, and then I want you to know what to do about it. And if there's anything that you remember from me, it's be like this guy. You just be like Rocky. Okay. Yep. He's fit, he's strong. It's muscle mass, and it's being able to
It's a long time.
your lungs. So these research articles are my 2 favorite of all time. Digging into research, this is what I found. This is also from the medical world. This isn't just some chiropractor acting rogue. These are medical doctors, medical studies. And this is about cardiorespiratory fitness. Cardio, lung capacity, VO2 max, your ability to just take out and go. It didn't matter if you were black, white, blue, pink, or yellow. It didn't matter if you were old, young, or anything. Being more cardiovascular fit had benefits where it didn't matter what else you did, if that makes sense. You could have been a smoker and 30 pounds overweight, but if you were working your cardiorespiratory fitness, you were better than the person who did not do any cardiorespiratory fitness, which means the benefits, it depended on nothing. If you do it, you're better. Nothing can harm those benefits. Nothing can outweigh them. Nothing can cancel it out. Super rare for something to be so independent and good for you. That's just fitness. This one was about muscular strength. So your ability to have good, strong lungs, and then separately, your ability to have good, strong muscles, because you can be strong and have no cardio ability, right? You're a runner, aren't you? Indeed. So there you go. You're reaping all the benefits of this on the left side. You could be a really good runner and have no muscle, but if you were a really good runner and you had muscle, that's double benefit. Double portion. That's good. So it's through age, especially lifting weights and maintaining muscle, super important. Muscular strength protects hypertensive men, high blood pressure, against all-cause mortality, meaning it didn't matter what it was. You had a lower risk of dying from anything ever. Brain, heart, lung, cancer, didn't matter. Less risk if you're stronger. Rocky, right? You'll remember that, won't you? Rocky. Be like Rocky. Be fit, climb mountains, carry logs on your back. Just Rocky montages on YouTube every morning for motivation. So at this point, I'm much more interested in hearing what questions you might have than hearing me speak anymore. Okay. So it's what you have in front of you is what I spent some time putting my top 20 tips. If you wanted some take-home things to do, sleep is first in the upper left because not sleeping is the most inflammatory thing you can do. Missing sleep. There's a couple great resources. Anything that you find on sleep by Andrew Huberman, who is a researcher from Stanford. And this guy, Matthew Walker, who is another PhD, he wrote a book called Why We Sleep. And they kind of pioneered like, hey, don't miss out on sleep. Sleep is the best. You should sleep. 8 hours, 8.5. There was actually a study done. They took a group of people into the woods and gave them no consciousness of time, no clocks, no watches, no nothing. And they ended up sleeping for 8 hours and 6 minutes every night. And they would, when you're outside camping, you don't have artificial light to keep you awake. So when the light's gone, you just go to sleep. So they tended to go down with the sun and rise with the sun. And it ended up being 8 hours and 6 minutes on average is what they slept. So when you just let your body go and you kind of just get in tune with nature, 8 hours, 6 minutes, that's in my head. Can I set my alarm for 8 hours and 6 minutes? That's literally what I think most times. Exercise. Number 4, there is an amazing effect when you play sports. So there's 4 sports in particular that add life expectancy. And again, it's just playing the sport. It's not and having really good nutrition. It's just the sport. And racket sports, tennis, pickleball, they have the highest change on your life expectancy. You have 9 years extra of life expectancy when you do a racket sport regularly. Pickleball clubs in town. You should find one. I think there's also when you think about rackets, you're doing something physical, you're hitting something, and there's cardio. So you're getting the best of muscles and cardiorespiratory fitness. And there's a social component. People with friends are healthier. Isolation is not healthy. That's why in prison they put you in isolation when you're naughty. It's not good for you. You don't like that, right? So you'll have better behavior to stay around other people. This is muscle mass, VO2, paddle sports. You don't have to run marathons. Moderate exercise has a ton of benefit. You don't have to be super intense. It's 30 minutes daily, or it's an hour, 3 days a week. VO2, that's your lung capacity. That's your ability to, how much air, oxygen can you push through your lungs? So a better air capacity is healthier. That's back to what this research article was saying. Your VO2, the better your VO2, the better your lung capacity, the better your fitness, the better your ability just to go and walk for miles and miles and miles. That's VO2. Yeah. Just plain walking. Yeah, indeed. Phenomenal. Yep. And 10,000 steps is a threshold. 12,000 is even better right there. There's like, I've even heard it said that 5 miles a day, you can eat whatever you want because you've done enough of burning calories to maintain neutrality, maintain homeostasis. So it's 5 miles would be 2,000 steps is about a mile. So that's about 5 miles. Right. So you've actually hit on my exercise seminar, Bill. We'll talk about zone 2 training. Okay. So when you walk, you only hit zone 1. There are 5 zones of exercise. Zone 5 is like sprinting. If we all went out and sprinted, you would be really tired really fast. Zone 1 is walking. It's just the most basic movement that there is. Zone 2 is walking with purpose. Okay. To where you're slightly out of breath and your heart rate is high, elevated slightly. Zone 2 is where you burn the most fat. When you exercise more intensely, like if I start jogging, I have stopped burning fat exclusively, and now I'm burning carbs because my energy demand is faster. Carbs are faster. Fat takes time. So zone 2, working out slightly more intense than walking, burns the most fat. It's phenomenal. Incline walking on a treadmill walking on an incline, phenomenal, because it'll require a heart rate a little bit higher than just walking. Love incline treadmill walking. I love biking where my heart rate is getting a little bit higher than what it would be just walking. Phenomenal. Zone 2 training. Keep the questions coming here. And Food Rules. One of my favorite books is called Food Rules. It's 67 little short tips. That's where if it came through the window of your car, it's not food. That's where that came from, right? The guy who wrote that book said, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That was his, if you boil it down into what to do, that's what you do with food. Eat food. What is food? My definition of food is if it came from the earth, you eat it, you can eat it. If it didn't come from the earth, you can't eat it. I have a never list, things that I can't touch anymore. Oreos are on my never list. It's just, it's not real. You know, when you look at the ingredient list, like what tree, Oreo tree, where's the Oreo tree? Like, no, it came from a factory. Somebody in a lab coat and a hairnet had to make that. I can't put that into my body. Mint, you know? Yeah, mint, good for the stomach. Oh yeah, that's it. Most candies with the food dyes, I get the EBGBs. It's toxic. It's chemical. It's plastic. It's not even real. It didn't come from the earth. There's no dirt on it. I'd rather pull a potato from the ground and eat that. You know, I'd rather get an onion with dirt on it. I'd rather eat that. I'd rather pick an apple straight from the tree. If it came from the earth, eat it. If it didn't come from the earth, think twice. You ever seen an ingredient list on a DiGiorno's pizza? Oh, there's like 43 ingredients. What do you need on a pizza? You need cheese, wheat for a crust, you need tomatoes, and you need some there should be like 7 ingredients on a pizza, not 43, because it's man-made. It came in a factory. It was frozen. That's not food anymore. That's convenience, but that's somebody making profit with our health as a being. It's costing us our health. Yeah, very much so. Yep, very much so. No, I
that stuff.
would want to be respectful because somebody probably put some time into that, but it's completely out of balance, is what I would say. The age of where bread and wheat was the bottom and your cereals were healthy, like no, not even close. Not even close. In the book, Food Rules, if your cereal changes the color of your milk, it's not food.
Just all the sugar type.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yep, for sure. It was Fruit Loops was better than you couldn't eat steak and you were supposed to eat cereal. It's just absurd. Just absurd. Just absurd. Yep. And even in my college nutrition class, I learned back then in 2010 that eggs were the most complete source of protein that exists on the earth because there are 20 amino acids that make up all proteins. Okay, I'm gonna go super nerd on you right here. Okay, this is just bonus. There are 20 amino acids. They make up all proteins. Eggs have like 16 or 18 of them. There is no other food existing on the earth that has that many unique amino acids for you to make protein. Unbelievable. Eat your eggs. You should. How many eggs? Yes. Perfect. Excellent. 6 grams of protein per egg. 6 grams. 6 grams per egg. Okay. So it's indeed. Now, you know how much protein is in beans? A lot of protein in beans. People who are vegan, don't eat meat, eat a lot of beans. There's a lot of protein in beans. So you make your omelet, get your eggs, get your beans. Do you know there's protein in spinach? Cheese to some degree, or even milk. I mean, if you got like whole milk, I'm a whole milk guy now. Yogurt, indeed. Throw a little yogurt in the eggs. It'll make a nice fluffy omelet. Oh, it'll taste so good. Cottage cheese. What's that? A frittata where you add the cottage cheese? What's that called? Yeah. Greek yogurt. Absolutely. Ton of protein in there. You even put that on your side to your eggs and your beans. Boom, you're there. Perfect break to your fast. Perfect breakfast. Love it. Yeah, with a cup of coffee. Coffee is good. Coffee is good. Green tea is better. So if you're trying to control blood sugar too, you just have this great meal full of protein. You had protein, you had carbs, you had fat. Carbs without protein and fat is a problem. That will raise your blood sugar faster than anything. You do not want carbs without protein and fat. Okay. So let's say you have your protein, fat, and carbs all in a perfect little meal. You had your eggs, your beans, maybe a little salsa, a little yogurt, all of that. Okay. What should you do around the meal? Afterwards, within 45 minutes, go for a 10-minute walk. Your blood sugar will be reduced drastically in a good way. In a good way. That will protect your blood sugar. How do you want to prime your body to receive blood sugar? Lift weights or do something physical before food. Why? Where's the first place blood sugar wants to go? In your muscles. So if you use muscle energy, you are giving your body space to put blood sugar. I almost guarantee you will never be diabetic lifting weights before most meals and then doing a walk afterwards. It's impossible. Your blood sugar has a perfect place to go. But if your muscles and your liver are saturated because you're not doing anything, you're not spending any energy, that energy, those carbs must be stored as fat. It is the only other option. It is fat. Fat gets stored and it sticks to you, which is brilliant because in times of scarcity, feast or famine, you will tap into that fat, assuming that you're not eating anything, which is what intermittent fasting is doing. Your body knows exactly what it's doing. It is genius. It is way smarter. I mean, your body, your brain right now is doing a million things that you're not even thinking about. Your liver is detoxing. If we took your liver out right now, the amount of toxins that would be in your body because your liver wasn't there, we'd all be dead in 6 hours. That's like clinical. When you do a liver transplant, that's been observed. 6 hours, dead. Too many toxins. Are you thinking about your liver right now? No, and thank goodness, because we need you thinking about other things, you know? More important things. Are you with me? So it's on the back of your sheet. And again, keep peppering questions here. And we're right at the tail end of all of this. It's just the things that I'm looking for when I'm trying to deem, are you healthy? Are you close to that metabolic syndrome? Are you far, far, far away, right? And the thing that I like looking at the most is having a proper body fat to muscle mass ratio. The number one predictor of longevity, having enough muscle mass. The number one predictor of surviving a hospital stay when you get sick, having enough muscle mass. The person who has more versus has less does better. And even during times of COVID, vitamin D3, number 3 there, huge, huge. If you had vitamin D3, if you were taking that supplement, getting sun, your odds of having a rougher time with COVID were way less. Way less. Vitamin D3, amazing.
Gotta be in the sunshine.
So it's number 1 and number 2 is the muscle mass and the lung capacity, the VO2 max, your ability to just take off and go for miles and miles. Number 3 and number 4 are my 2 favorite supplements.
Right. Well, yeah.
I want everybody on vitamin D3 and omega-3. I want everybody to have it tested. I want everybody to know what is in your blood. Do I have enough omega-3s? Fish oil. Fish oil. Okay. Fish oils. Fish oils make membranes stable. They make things stable. Bad fats, omega-6s, trans fats, they make things unstable. They cause reactivity in your body. They make cell membranes not strong. They make cells weaker. We want omega-3s. They're flexible. They're stable. They don't react as much. Omega-3s, fish oil. Trans fat, bad fats. So think of Doritos. You'll see on that new nutrition label. Trans fat, there will be some there, right? Oreos, they're just so bad. They used to be good, but they're just not anymore. You dunk it in the milk and they'd kind of get soft and then it would be 2 at a time, right? Double stuff, right? Oh, they got us with their marketing. The food marketing realm, you should go home, put this on your upper and just research, find a video about what people do to sell food to us. And you will never look at the grocery store. Boy, yeah. You know, in gluten is only in wheat, barley, and rye. Wheat, barley, rye, gluten. You know, oats claim to be gluten-free. There was never any gluten in oats, but they put it on their label so that you know we have no gluten in it. And it's just like, I don't know, that's just marketing. They put gluten-free on things that never had any gluten in it to begin with. I'm just flabbergasted by it all. The grocery store. People pay big dollars to have things at eye level. The things that you look at, it'll be the most popular brands. It'll be at eye level. Consumers or sellers pay to put things on the shelf. At your checkout aisle, people pay to put the candy right there because they want you just to grab it and throw it on. Well, it's another $1. No big deal. Just get the Reese's. Get the Snickers. Oh, it makes me mad. That thing. There you go. Bill, good job. I love the Mediterranean diet. If you're eating olive oil and you're eating olives and you're eating, that's funny, isn't it? Because I hate olives. I do not like olives at all. But if you're eating those things that have a lot of healthy omega-3s, fish, salmon, Sardines are wonderful. Everyone laughs at me when I say you should eat sardines, but sardines are phenomenal because they have
Takes
a
about
clinical
30
dose of omega-3s in one little tin. Yes, if you do that, you'll have all the omega-3s you've ever wanted. You won't need to take a supplement.
And you'll probably absorb it much
Correct.
better than
Yep.
the supplement.
I'd have to go back to my list, but I mean, it is seafood and it is a source of protein, but is it high in omega-3s? I don't think it's as high as some, but
Shrimp.
well, there you go. You're hitting your protein goal for the day by doing that for sure. Yep. Yeah. Question.
C-reactive protein is arthritis. C-reactive protein,
Yes.
inflammatory.
Yeah. What's my take on vitamins? Good question. And so if you're going to use vitamins as a scapegoat to do whatever you want, I think you're in the wrong. That's not a good idea. So it's whoever your friends who are doing that who don't look very healthy, like, yeah, they need a reality check. Vitamins. So the nutrition company that I follow, the people who I'm being trained by, these functional medicine doctors who are becoming world renowned, they talk about the Fab Five, the top 4 or 5 things that are good for everybody all the time, no matter what. And it's so vitamin D3, omega-3, a general multivitamin / multi-mineral. Magnesium is a mineral. Vitamin A, B6, those are vitamins. So it's you get all the minerals and all the vitamins in one. Multivitamin / multi-mineral, that's one. D3, omega-3. And then number 4 is a probiotic, just a blanket coverage for gut health. And then number 5 is some antioxidant concoction. So what I use is this thing called fruits and greens. It's got powdered antioxidants. It's the same number of antioxidants as 20 servings of fruits and greens. It is not fruits and greens, but it's the antioxidants from fruits and greens, which helps your body deal with inflammation and stress.
Right.
So if someone is like, hey, just give me the blanket start, where do I go? You do some combination of those 5 things. A lot of nutrition you can get from just eating the rainbow. Every color, every day. You'll get those antioxidants. Yeah, you'll get potassium.
It increases
when you eat the rainbow.
Protein.
Good question. But again, this is just what I'm looking for. You know, if you have blood results from before, it's like, I like your blood sugar to be below 90 when you're fasted. I love that. I love your fasting insulin, which is not usually tested often. You have to ask for that one to be around 7. I love that. In our office next door, we do heart rate variability and this thing called bioimpedance analysis, which is, it helps me analyze how well your body is dealing with stress. That has to do with your brain, your nervous system, how bogged down your body is with toxicity. I can discover those things by doing 2 really simple tests that take collectively less than 4 minutes to do them both, 5 minutes total. We can test your resiliency. We can test your adaptability. We can test your ability to self-heal. Ironically, gait speed and grip strength. Grip strength is a predictor for cardiovascular wellness. Grip strength. The better grip strength you have, the healthier your heart theoretically should be. It's a predictor. You'll have less heart issues when your grip strength is better.
I have no grip strength, but I have a good heart.
It's a wild one. Researchers don't really know why that is, and I think it's because the same nerves that do grip control your heart. Same nerves. Probably going to be okay. Yeah. Do you have a history of milking cows? No? Indeed. When you think about, some of the people who work with their hands, like, you're strengthening a connection that leads to heart health. And gait speed, the number one reason for falls, when you fall, high risk of breaking hips. When you break a hip, high risk of pneumonia. And pneumonia is the number one killer of after you've broken a hip. The number one reason for a fall is lack of foot speed. And so you'll be stumbling and your feet just can't get in front of you to catch yourself. A lot of foot speed has to do with quad strength. So it's like the number one exercise is to do a step up. If you imagined a box, whether it was 3 inches or 12 inches, and you stepped up on it, that is directly working your quad. It relates to foot speed. It relates to saving yourself from falls and not breaking a hip and not getting pneumonia. Foot speed, quad strength. The idea is health span that matches your lifespan. So if we have all of these ducks in a row, holy smokes, that is somebody who I think is going to do very well for a very long time. which is why it's top 10. Top 10. Sleep. Not sleeping is the most inflammatory thing you can do. Less than 7 hours per night linked to higher risk of metabolic disorder. Get your sleep. Go to sleep. Yep. Dark room on there, on the front side of that paper. Get your room as dark as possible, as cold as possible. If it's summer and your room is 70 degrees, too hot. You should do something to get it colder. Our room's hot, isn't it, in the summer? Indeed. 64 degrees, 63. 64 is clinically the best temperature to sleep at. 64. 64 degrees. That's cold. It's hard to get that in Iowa in a hot, humid state that we have. But it's sleep is easy when you really boil it down sometimes. Sometimes there are some crazy reasons why people are not sleeping, and sometimes it is just as simple as adjusting your room to get no light, to get it as cold as possible. Stop looking at screens about an hour before you want to go to bed, and just chill out. Yeah, those people that they do like a polyphasic sleep schedule. So Kobe Bryant was that way. You know, Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, he would sleep 4 hours at night, like 10 to 2, and he'd get up and he'd work out. And then he'd work out while everyone else is sleeping, and then he'd go sleep again. And he would do that for most of his career. There are some people who somehow they can get away with that. But it's, in my opinion, 95% of the time, not sleeping is a boogeyman that will get you eventually because of how it creates inflammation. And then it'll be like, my back hurts now. Or I just bent down to pick that thing up, and all of a sudden it's like nothing happens all of a sudden like that. Very few things happen all of a sudden, right? So it's like you're building inflammation, and that can really cause anything to break with time. That's me being harsh. Should you stay up late and have coffee or a glass of wine with some of your people sometimes? Yes, you should do that. Holiday times, yeah, stay up late, play games, but then just get back on a regular schedule. Good questions, everyone. And this is just an overview. This is a picture I want to melt into your heads. It's just like there are things that you can see, and they are not necessarily the thing that is actually wrong, right? For example, and this is in school, we learn, I would call them a one-off. When you don't have enough vitamin D3 as a kid, rickets. That's a bone softening disorder because of how vitamin D3 affects your bones. That's an idea of a nutrient deficiency. When you don't have enough vitamin C, scurvy, sailors, right? No vitamin C, no fresh fruit, just fish. So it's how nutritional deficiencies are showing up in today's day and age in middle America is it could be any of these things. And anxiety and depression is when you have a probiotic, that helps anxiety and depression. When you have vitamin D3, that helps anxiety, depression. There are nutritional deficiencies related to these things. The thyroid issue, the thyroid requires an amino acid. To make thyroid hormone, it requires tyrosine. Is it one of the 20 essential amino acids? You need it. It's a component to a really important hormone for the thyroid. So if you're someone who doesn't eat protein enough, you're not getting a daily recommended source of protein, are you more prone to an issue like a thyroid? Yes, you are. That's just from nutrition, you know? We could, yes. Yes. No, I would call it, the 1%, the 1% to the 5%. The 1 to 5% are too far gone. Everyone else can be saved. There are certain circumstances and so like someone today, I consulted on someone who has leukemia. Me, nor anyone else is going to solve their leukemia. It's a part of them. Their physiology is different now, but the goal is remission and to get them so healthy that they don't have flare-ups, right? So there are certain things that are not reversible. I don't want to stand up here. I'm not Jesus. There's only one of him, right? So there are some things that you got to be careful on. There's no magic pill, but there's a lot. Like these are all things that I would say are solvable, reversible, barring some category of autoimmune conditions, which gets me really excited for our community and really excited for people who want to spend a little energy to fix their health, to protect their health, to maximize their health span,
Eat more fruits and
match
vegetables,
their lifespan.
maybe irritable
People
bowel.
who want to work with him and max and invest their money and
Yeah.
leave a legacy for their
Right.
kids. They want to be here for a long time. They want to work till they're 72 and build that legacy up. That gets me excited. I want to work with those people who are
72.
ready to shake the world up a little bit. That's what I would call the art of living. You got to make the most out of while we're here, you know? This world is a crazy, gnarly place already. So let's take it by the horns. Water. Oh, there's a hot topic. Yeah, water quality. Gnarly. You can look this up. There are websites. You can tap in your zip code and you can see how good your water is. Flint, Michigan, right? Big issue. Had fluoride in the water. Was very unsafe. Whole city couldn't drink their water. There are safe levels of heavy metals in our water. There is arsenic in our water. You go home, turn on the tap, arsenic, it's there. Fluoride, chlorine, it's there. It is a problem. So if anyone who will listen to me, stop drinking, and not you guys, I know you all are listening to me. Anybody who will listen to this is don't drink tap water because there's acceptable stuff that I would not say is acceptable for a lifetime. Reverse osmosis is gold standard. Well water is better, but even well water, I'm filtering that. I'm filtering everything at least once.
We should change our filters. Been several years.
Yes,
Why it keeps
Chad is on it. Correct. When you use RO, it's like sterile water. There's nothing in it. So you often have to add minerals back. There should be minerals in water. Those minerals dissolve in water. We like that. So it's one strategy is you actually add good salt, not Morton's iodized salt, not sodium chloride, but good salt that has it has minerals like molybdenum. Molybdenum is an essential, it's a hard one to say, and it's an essential nutrient for detox. Salt has that in it. So you add salt or you do some electrolyte drink. There's a ton of them out there now to make you truly hydrated. So it's water quality is a big one, and it's an unseen one. It's one of those that's in the roots. It creates a certain level of toxicity that sometimes needs to be addressed. So it's food quality and water quality both go hand in hand. Yeah. Yeah. The contaminants, yeah, like how to store your water. And yeah, if you store it in plastic, there is BPA, plastic particles, leaching into your water that you're just stainless glass. Glass is gold standard. Stainless steel is very good. Correct. Yep. Something that's strong and won't shatter when you break it. Yep. So that's is reverse osmosis. So it's a water filtration system. You probably have it. You might have it. Yep, indeed. Yeah. So you can buy systems for your whole house that filter every drop of water that runs through your faucets, or you can buy them per sink, per water source. And so on Amazon, you can get a decent one called iSpring for like $350, and you can put that where you want it. So that's what Tim did in there. It's just a singular one sink system, but it's good. And then you know the stuff that you're washing your dishes with is good, and you're washing your hands with this stuff is good. And water quality is a big one. Mm-hmm. So, and that water at Hy-Vee, I want to say, is it RO? Is it RO? I don't know what that water is. I don't think it's tap water. It's been filtered. I just don't know how exclusively it's been filtered. So I don't like fluoride in my water. Fluoride is one where fluoride lowers your IQ. There's every research study, and you can look this up, don't take my word for it, that measured fluoride in water. Whoever drank that water had a lower IQ. Bad for kids. Don't like it at all. So my filtration system filters fluoride. It does Hy-Vee's. I don't know. But should it be out of water? Yeah, it should be out of water. In my opinion, there's no safe level of fluoride that we should be ingesting.
What about kids' teeth and getting?
Yes.
I guess they treat them, right? Toothpaste, and they treat them with fluoride. Do they sometimes?
In a way, yes, correct. And it's not like one plastic bottle is going to jump out and get you, but it's just that over time,
About
because
2
we've got a lot
decay.
of years to live. You said you were 80 years old, right? Just about. I'm 34. So am I going to do, if I'm, for the next 46 years, that's going to take a toll if I drink bottled water every day, day in, day out. That's not what we should do. So yeah, spring water, when you have a choice, spring water is like the best. If you can track where it came from and you know where it came from, and there's water that, do you do spring water? Or yeah, that's the best. Spring water is the best because it has, I know someone, maybe we should band together and start a company that harvests spring water and ships it in glass. Maybe that's what we should do. And then you send the glass back and we keep reusing that, because there are companies that do that.
Says it's purified by reverse osmosis.
Okay, there you go. So that was a sterile water. It was nothing but H2O in a perfect world and a little, nothing in it. Correct. Which is why it tastes like nothing. Sometimes you get that well water and it's like, there's some stuff in here, right? So it's, if you add a little salt or an electrolyte drink to it, gold standard, it would be bomb diggity. That would be true hydration. So you're drinking salt and it's not changing your sodium level. That's awesome, indeed, because that's what the good salt does. It doesn't raise that, and that's what your kidneys do all day. Your kidneys are filtering that stuff constantly, so you're using it. That's why it's not elevating your blood labs. It's because it's, love it. Well done. Well done. Yeah. Again, and I know we're at our time capacity here, so feel free to, I'll stay here and answer questions all day long. I mean, this is what I'm probably the most passionate about. And I get questions. I'm here asking for more questions. And it's just, this is my system. When I analyze someone, the order in which I want to fix them, it's always upper gut first. It's always stomach. Stomach acid. Stomach must break food down in order to absorb it. That's the definition of metabolism. Can you break food down to make what you need from what you ate? Upper gut and lower gut. If that's out of whack, forget it. We're not doing anything else. That's it. That's first. Nothing else matters. We're not balancing hormones or detoxing if your stomach doesn't work, if you have gut issues. I love some of the things that are being sold online, but it's just, sometimes they're selling things like, hey, here, this is good for you. And it is good for you, but it's like mathematics in the order of operations. Got to be in the right order. Weight loss comes last. Nitrate in water, or boy, there's another hot topic. Yep.
Too much. This takes 5 years or less. But we have spring water. That's the only thing that's wrong.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. You wish you didn't have to do that, right? And it's the agricultural runoff that makes it high in nitrates, right? So it's really, correct. Yeah, you don't know where that runoff came from, and there's a big hypoxic zone in New Orleans. There's a big zone where there's no oxygen because that zone in the Gulf has too many nitrates, so nothing lives there because there's no oxygen because of the nitrates have thrown it out of balance from agricultural runoff through Iowa, Minnesota, everything lining the Mississippi River. And all that ran in the river and it had to go somewhere and it went to the Gulf of Mexico, the hypoxic zone. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people who are mad at Iowa in a way because of our farming practices. But so they're going to have to choose. We're going to have to choose, but it's part of the way our world runs, and we're getting by right now. Is there a better way? Probably. And I think that's what humans do. We figure out ways to get better, but no one's going to do it for you, which is why we're here talking about how to be as healthy as possible, because that's your responsibility. If I would close with this, this analogy of how precious a day of life is if I gave you $1 million right now, you'd be really excited, right? I'm sure Tim would be really excited too if everyone in here had $1 million. If I gave you $10 million, would you be even more excited? If I could give you $10 million, but you can't wake up tomorrow, are you taking the money? No. So you're telling me waking up tomorrow is worth more than $10 million? Yes, it is. So we should act like every day is worth $10 million. And I'm guilty. I'm the first one to say that I do not act that way. But if it is worth $10 million, I think it's worth protecting your health so that you're here for a lot of days. I'm motivated by that. I'm inspired by that. I hope you feel inspired as well, just to do the little things that build up over time. I'll shut up now. But indeed, thank you for coming. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you for having me here, for today. And I hope to do this at least every quarter, if not every month, to do a different talk on a different topic. So if there's something that sparks your interest, shoot me a message and we'll go after it.
I was going to say, at the very least, a year from now, we should have the same talk, have everybody back in the same group and see how we did over the last year. But maybe we'll need some reminders every once in a while. As I left my office and I looked at my little sign in the corner, I don't know if anybody has ever been in my office and looked at my little plaque that I have in the corner. It says, "Beloved, I pray above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, just as your soul prospers." So, I mean, wellness, it's just, yes, I want financial prosperity for people, but in the end, if you're not healthy, it just probably does not matter a whole lot. So maybe it matters to your kids at some point. So anyway, but that's my prayer for you. I think that's probably Philip's prayer for you too. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out, because this is really, really good information. And the last thing I'm going to say before I hang up is that, did I tell anybody that that's my son? So, thanks for coming.